pitch, he's saying. One more pitch.
One more pitch. The 3-2 pitch. Swung on, popped up, shallow center field. Rojas sprinting in, he's under it. He has space, makes the catch, and Michael Lorenzen has thrown the 14th no-hitter in Philadelphia Phillies history. He is being mobbed by his teammates as the Phillies shut out the Nationals 7-0.
And welcome to the Phightins Final here on the Edge of Philly Sports with your boy Matty B. And yes, indeedy, what a night down at Citizen Bank Park tonight as the Phillies on the arm of Michael Lorenzen throwing the 14th, count them, 14 no-hitter in Phillies franchise history, beat the Washington Nationals 7-0 on a night that had everything. Had 2 home runs by Nick Castellanos, his 199th and 200th career home runs. The the major league debut of of a I am trying to get myself composed here as well. Just an interesting night. Weston Wilson debuted on the scene tonight with his first home run ever on his first at bat, and of course the Michael Lorenzen no hitter, and there you have 8-0 or 7-0 Phillies. And welcome back with your boy Matty B here on this night that I guess this is what you sign up for, right, folks? This is what you put in the work for. This is what you endure for 50 plus years in my case as a Phillies fan, for nights like this. And where do we start? Do we start with the home runs? Do we start with the no-hitter? I'll tell you what, let's get into the game. That's really kind of the most important thing, as the Phillies won the night 7-0. And let's talk about how it all went down at the bank earlier this evening. As mentioned, Michael Lorenzen got to start his second start in his Phillies career, his first home start in his Phillies career. And it was kind of not really much dealing in the beginning. He struggled in the beginning a little bit. Had the case of the walksies earlier on in this game, but he clamped it down and he got some quick innings, saving some pitches as this game wore on. I think he finished with 124 pitches thrown, an unheard of number in this day and age of baseball. Actually, it's an unheard of number in any day and age of baseball. 124 pitches. But obviously, for obvious reasons, he was left in there by Rob Thompson to try to knock down the no-hitter. But let's talk about the scoring. Bryce Harper would get the Phillies on the board early in the first inning when he would knock in Alec Bohm on a double. Nick Castellanos then would follow that up with his 199th career home run to make it 3-0 Phillies. Then Weston Wilson, from 28-year-old making his major league debut, bounced around the majors, or the minors, I should say, before finding a home this season with the Phillies in Lehigh Valley, was called up a couple days ago, Monday, I believe it was, or Sunday, and he homered on his first at bat. The first time a Philly has done that since last year when Derek Hall did it, and it was 4-0 Phillies. Then Castellanos in the third would follow that with his second homer of the night, his 200th of his career, 5-0 Phillies. And then Rojas would reach on a single in the fourth, knocking in Wilson to make it 6-0. And Alec Bohm in the seventh would top off the scoring with a single, knocking in Weston Wilson again to make it 7-0 on the night for the Phillies. 7 runs, 8 hits, no errors. Offensive standouts for this team. Let's start with Nick Castellanos, would finish the night 2 for 4 with 2 runs, 3 RBIs, and 2 home runs. And Weston Wilson, 1 for 3, 3 runs, a homer, 2 RBIs. Those were your offensive standouts for the Phillies. But of course, the man of the hour, Mr. No-hitter, Mr. 14th no-hitter in Phillies history, Michael Lorenzen. 9 innings pitched, no hits, no runs, no earned runs. He struck out 5 and he walked 4. 124 pitches thrown. He now goes to 7-7 on the season. Gore, Abbott, and Garcia in the losing effort for the Nationals, and 7-0 Phillies with the win. And yeah, buddy, It is what it is, man. It's a great night to be a Phillies fan. Feeling the playoff vibe tonight down there at Citizen Bank Park, as you know, we're entering in a great time of the season. This coming weekend is alumni weekend. Always seems to be a fun-filled playoff-like atmosphere down at the bank to begin with, but tonight was absolutely playoff-like, as the Phillies was just so much going on right with this team tonight. Take down the Nationals 7-0, and Marie chimes in with amazing game. It absolutely was an amazing game. They were running around the stands. I mean, it was what the Nick Castellanos family show. It was the Weston Wilson family show, and then it was the Michael Lorenzen family show. I mean, they were just bouncing all over the place, and it was just one of those great nights. One of those nights where it just nothing could go wrong if you're a Phillies fan, and one of those nights that get you kind of believing in this team, moving down the stretch run, even with all the imperfections that this team has. I'm not saying I'm one of them people right now. I mean, I've always believed in the Phillies, and I never will stop. But um, boy, was it a great night to be a Phillies fan, especially watching the last inning of the game. Wondering one, was he going to come back out for the ninth inning? He did, and then clamping it down. Just great, just a great night. Words, speechless is kind of where I come in on this. It's just you know, I remember Cole Hamels, you know, the 2015 no hitter. Hell, I remember Terry Mulholland's no hitter in 1990. But not too many no hitters. You know, Roy Halladay had one in there as well, but not too many no hitters in Phillies history. 14 to be precise, as Michael Lorenzen now joins that club with the win with the no hitter tonight. And Phillies have now taken the first two games of this 4-game series. They will go for the series win tomorrow down there at Citizen Bank. And how do you follow up this? I mean, do we embrace, or do we get ready for the big letdown tomorrow, or do we just? I mean, just a great night, and you know, wow, wow. That's all I can say. I mean, I mean, wow. Uh, but so tomorrow the Phillies will wrap up this series with the Nationals down there at the bank. Aaron Nola will get the start, and he'll be opposed by Patrick Corbin. It is a 6:40 start. That's right, a 6:40 start, folks, on a Thursday. And we're not going Thursday afternoon. Do we get the Powder Blues anyway? I think we probably will. But that's your start tomorrow, 6:40 down there at the bank. Phillies Nationals wrapping up the season, or wrapping up the series uh, in style. Hopefully, let's take a look around Major League Baseball though tonight, as there were other games in action. These are the games that are still ongoing. 5-2 White Sox over the Yankees. 1-0 Angels over the or say Giants over the Angels. That's in the bottom of the third. The Diamondbacks and Dodgers are scoreless, 0-0 in the fourth. It is 1-1 Padres Mariners in the fourth. Games that have gone final: Marlins over the Reds 5-4, Rockies losers to the Brewers 7-6, Athletics over the Rangers 2-0, and the Tigers over the Twins 9-5. Cardinals hold off the Rays 6-4, Astros over the Orioles 8-2, Braves 6-5 winners over the Pirates, Mets 4-3 over the Cubs, Red Sox 4-3 over the Royals, Blue Jays 1-0 over the Guardians, and that is your action around Major League Baseball on this Wednesday. And of course, the big story here in town is the Phillies and Michael Lorenzen and the 14th no-hitter in Philadelphia Philly history. On his second start, Michael Lorenzen was brought here, and it's funny because he was brought here. He's kind of nibbled around being going between relief pitcher and starting pitcher throughout his 9-10 year Major League career. Bounced around with a few different organizations. Was brought here to be kind of a safety valve, stopgap type player if Sanchez didn't work out. I mean, we already know what the starting pitching is going to look like in the postseason. It's a 4-man rotation. So the Michael Lorenzens and the Chris Sanchez's of the world probably won't see much time as starters, but they would definitely fill a void in that, you know, that long relief category coming out of the bullpen, especially in the postseason. I don't think Dave Dombrowski or anybody else envisioned this. I mean, the guy comes here and he tosses 8 innings in his first start as a Philly against the Marlins last week, and then 9 innings tonight in a friggin' no hitter. I don't know how you follow that up. Is it a perfect game in the next 6 days we're going to see from him? I mean, I'm not going to get there to say that, but how can you not be happy or over the moon happy about this pickup so far? And is this, obviously we're going to see more as we move, but does this, alter that postseason potential rotation for the Phillies in a good way? This is something. Don't forget. I'm a big believer that the Phillies kind of broke down the stretch, and what I mean by down the stretch is the World Series, because their arms were they didn't have enough arms, and they just kind of ran out of gas. Does Michael Lorenzen kind of give us that little boost for this postseason run? I don't know. Maybe a little too early to tell that, but definitely early returns are pretty good. Just amazing. Jeff says maybe he can rub some off on Nola for tomorrow. Yeah, Nola's going to bring out his 26 home runs tomorrow, and maybe he does rub something off on Aaron Nola tomorrow and the rest of the staff as we move forward. But just an absolute amazing night to see. Not only the Lorenzen story, but even the Wilson and the Castellanos. I mean, it was just a great night of milestones down there at Citizen Bank Park, out of absolutely nowhere. I mean, no one had this. It's just out of nowhere, and this is what makes baseball a beautiful sport. This is what makes baseball, and paying attention to it and staying ingrained in it for 162 games pay off, because you can enjoy nights like tonight. And I sat there probably just like you did, all through the ninth inning. I think it was around the sixth inning when I started thinking no hitter. And of course, even though I was alone, I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say no hitter out loud, right? No one said no hitter out loud. No one does that, except if you're Big Al from EOP. He's the only one who talks about no hitters or perfect games while they're ongoing. But the rest of us Philly fans, we don't do that, right? And so even alone, I wasn't prepared to say no hitter. And then as we got into the seventh and then the eighth, but then the pitch count began to rise. And then I'm thinking, is he even going to come back out for the ninth? Who knows anymore with Rob Thompson, what he's thinking. Comes back out for the ninth. Glued on every pitch, just like playoff baseball. Every pitch of that inning, I was in tune to, just like playoff baseball. And it definitely had a playoff baseball vibe when he popped Dominic Smith up to shallow center field, and Rojas squeezed it with two hands, folks. Did you notice that Rojas made that play with two hands? That's right. He didn't try to Willie Mays it or anything like that. He got underneath that ball, made sure he was dead set on catching that thing, squeeze it with two hands, thus securing the no-hitter for Michael Lorenzen and the Phillies. And an amazing, amazing night. Jeff says he loves Rojas. Yes. I just said that. Rojas was the man tonight for the Phillies. So Phillies go up 7-0 with the win tonight over the Nationals. And I have someone I want to bring in on here because he just popped in, and I'm going to actually ask him where the hell he's been, because I'm not even supposed to be hosting tonight. He is. But let's bring him on.
Sorry, Matty B.
What happened? Would you fall asleep?
No. I thought I pushed the show back to 11 because I was doing some circumstances. So I tried to push it back. And I pushed the wrong show back. So I got to fix things. So I appreciate you coming in and fixing some things.
Absolutely, Pat. And then I'm just I'm busting stones.
I
realize
this is what us Northeast guys are meant to do.
Yeah.
But listen, Matty B, first of all, it's been a long time since this tag team's gone down.
Yeah.
But Matty B, we have a no-hitter. Okay? I don't know where to go tonight. Do I go with the no-hitter tonight? Do I go with Nick Castellanos reaching 200 his career home run? Do I even reach a Mr. Wilson who came out of nowhere with a big-time home run, stolen base, and an RBI? I don't know where to go tonight. I don't know. It's all good. It's all good tonight.
Yeah, it is, Pat. And I'm 15 minutes into the show, and I've touched on all those very same points, and I came in with the same attitude you did. Where do you start? But obviously, let's go with let's continue talking about the no-hitter, Michael Lorenzen. One of the things about this no-hitter that impresses me the most about him is that this is his second start as a Philly. He won 8 innings in his first start against Miami, and he comes in here tonight, goes 9 innings for a guy that's really not supposed to go more than 5 or 6 in a game. But so far, the trade dividends on this guy have been off the charts. I mean, you couldn't have asked for anything better than this. The guy just pitched the 14th no-hitter in franchise history. But I know I was kind of like so on the trade deadline move to bring him here. I wanted the power bat and whatnot. But what is your thoughts now on the trade there, Pat, of Michael Lorenzen, and how do you feel that this may or may not alter the Phillies rotation going down the stretch, and more importantly in the postseason?
Well, Christopher Sanchez's time is starting to get shorter and shorter in this lineup, and with a performance like tonight, Michael Lorenz enjoys a heck of a plenty of a list here. Tommy Green from '91. If you want to go Kevin Millwood of '03. Of course, we know Holiday had the 2010 of May 29th and October 6th, and of course, Cole Hamels was the last of July 25th to 15. But I was kind of 50-50. Me and Al have had the argument or debate rather of he wanted a bat, I wanted an arm. And listen, Mike Lorenzen here it has proved me right. Starting pitching has been inconsistent all year long. You're two guys you rely on, and Nola and Wheeler you've banked on, and they've been nothing but more inconsistent than anybody on this roster. And then when you go through that, it gets really sloppy. The Tyon Walkers hasn't been up to stuff. And you go Ranger Suarez coming off an injury hasn't shaken off the rust. So when we get this going here, Michael Lorenzen, like I didn't see this guy playing up this potential. I'm like, okay, he's from the Detroit Tigers, but I got to see more of him. Well, I got to see a lot of them today. And look, for a no-hitter game, I'll take it. So, and the bats were alive today as well. So I'm happy on all cylinders right now.
And let's address the other big stories because there was multiple, as you mentioned, on this night. Nick Castellanos, a 2-home run night, number 199 and number 200 of his career. I honestly didn't know he had 200. That's pretty impressive. I know he's, he kind of flew under the radar before he got here last year and whatnot. But as far as I'm concerned, he went into a little slump at the All-Star break. He was a very consistent bat for us prior to the All-Star break, and then he went into a little slump in the All-Star break, kind of broke out of that about a week or so ago. But once again, Nick Castellanos providing that consistency in that lineup. Kyle Schwarber was a no-go tonight, and neither was Alec Boehm, and they still managed to score 7 runs. It's very, very, very impressive and very, very enlightening that maybe the depth of this team is a lot better than I give it credit for. But what is your take on Nick Castellanos and reaching his milestone tonight of 200 home runs?
I love it. Nick Castellanos has been the workhorse, of course, like you say, coming out of the All-Star break. He kind of fell off the wagon a little bit, but he found himself right back on in the thick of things. And again, he's being patient at the plate. He's not swinging. He's not playing cricket. He's not going after the first pitches. He's being very calm. What comes across the middle, he's taking the pitches. Whether he sees fastballs, curveballs, knuckles. I mean, sliders, wherever he sees coming over that plate, he's just being very precautious of his swings, and it's paying dividends. Now, I got one for you. How about the conversation of all weekend? Now Trey Turner, how about him playing leadoff tonight? So, yeah. I mean, 2 for 4 tonight, not bad at all. I mean, he's coming along ever since the fans kind of rejuvenated his, got his back and rejuvenated him. But you mentioned this in your show last night. JT Realmuto, 0 for 8 so far in the series. I'm still scratching my head on him and what he is so far.
Yeah, I'm not. Listen, I'm taking this night for the good of everything that's happened, and I let off with that. I'm the biggest doubting Thomas probably in the room when it comes to a lot of these players. Kyle Schwarber, I'm not the biggest fan of, and whatever. But Trey Turner, I am. I'm a huge fan of, and seeing Trey back in that leadoff spot. I'm glad. I said this, as you mentioned on my show the other night, that I don't think the Phillies have done enough for Trey Turner. I don't think they've done enough to give him that opportunity to do what they've given Kyle Schwarber the opportunity to do. I mean, they leave Kyle Schwarber up in that leadoff spot, and the guy's batting around 110. So why not let Trey Turner just kind of figure himself out in that spot? They constantly are moving him anyway. It's good to see that. JT has not had a good season. It's been inconsistent all year. It's really kind of reminiscent of 2021. And it's not encouraging. It's not encouraging at all. But still, with all that being said, Pat, 11 games over 500 right now. They are actually a half a game ahead of the Giants in the wild card lead. And it boggles the mind with me when the amount of inconsistencies on this team, players, position-wise, fundamental baseball, you name it, they lack it on any given night. And yet here they are, 11 games over 500 and in a firm position in the National League wild card picture.
Yeah, and this is again, we're kind of in the same routine as we were in last year, except for your wild card position is a little better than you were. So, I mean, look, as long as they can keep on hitting high, and look, right now the schedule ain't as strong as it was. So I mean, you got to take care of what's in front of you. So you take care of one more against the Nationals tomorrow. Hopefully, you can win 3 out of 4. And it's weird to me seeing how Rob Thompson is constantly giving guys breaks here and there and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right now, I need all guys clicking on all cylinders because right now, and I try to, me, Mike have fought back for it. Like right now is your playoffs. Like this is playoff mode baseball, especially us wild card guys. Like the Braves got a cakewalk to the NL postseason, but for us, this is playoff baseball now because, like you said, it could be any given night. The Giants, the Marlins, whoever it is breathing down the Milwaukee Brewers is breathing down their necks to fight for this spot. So the Phillies got to do what they can to keep everything on the up and up as far as their pitching, as far as the starting pitching. The only thing I kind of got scared of as of late is the bullpen, the closing. Hasn't been that strong as of late. And, for the first half of baseball, that's been the solid part of our season is been Greg Kimbrell and Soto and stuff like that. Now it's a little shaky with those guys. So, Matt, what do you see from that side?
Well, hey, as long as we can get no hitters every night, I don't need the bullpen. No, I mean,
Yeah.
no, it is a little concerning, especially with the situation with Sir Anthony and Alvarado still dealing with injuries, and I don't know what's going on with Sir Anthony. I think he's in his own head right now, but there is some issues with the back end, especially of the bullpen. Craig Kimbrell has shown a little bit of cracks in his foundation over the past month or so. But all in all, it's not like the bullpen of the past. I think it's a serviceable bullpen, and I think as we move down the stretch, especially if we're getting these late starts, if we can get 6 or 7 innings from these starters, maybe it helps us in the long run. We don't have to rely on them too much. And then, I mentioned this as well. With the Renzen potentially making a move to be part of the postseason rotation, or maybe not. I mean, you can throw him into the bullpen, and he's an extra piece coming out. So the back end of the bullpen is a little concerning, especially with Sir Anthony and Alvarado, because I don't know why Alvarado's not back yet. He should be back. No one's talking about that. I don't know what's going on. It is concerning, but yeah, if you give me no hitters every night, Pat, I don't need the bullpen, man. We'll just ride this thing out until the wheels fall off. But you mentioned the standings, Pat. Let's take a look at that real quick. In around the National League, let's first look at the East, the divisional race. The Phillies are currently now 10.5 games out of first place behind the Braves, but I don't think 10.5 games is a done deal here in early August. I think there's a bunch of baseball left to be played. Granted, I know the Braves would have to kind of epically, I think, have a sub 500 finish. But you know what? I've seen stranger things happen. So I am not giving up on the National League East. I think it's still there. We still have, I believe it's 8 games in hand with the Braves, to include a huge 5-game series in early September here in Philly. So I'm not going to quite say goodbye to the National League East. But of course, let's take a look at the sexy wild card because that's what everybody looks at. Phillies, as I mentioned earlier, are a half game ahead of the Giants for that number 1 spot. The Giants are 2, and the Marlins come in at 3. But then the Cubs are just a half a game. The Reds are half a game out. Diamondbacks are 2 games out. And then the Padres are at 4. And the Mets, who are fading fast, at 7. So, Pat, as I said, I don't think the division's out of reach. I mean, it's not something I'm banking on, but I'm definitely still keeping an eye on it. But where are you looking at? I mean, this wild card thing seems to be the way it's been for a while. I don't see it getting much more clearer than this. It's going to be a kind of a run to the finish. Whereas, and that strengthens your point about why, we're going with lineups on nights where, you Souza and whatever, and you're not trying to get the most bang for your buck. Like it was almost like last night, the second game of the doubleheader, they were just kind of throwing the game away, saying, yeah, we'll take the rest instead of the win, when you need every win at this point.
Yeah, you do. And with the bats being inconsistent, you need everything you could possibly get right now. Like, because they've showed flashes of being inconsistent. So I mean, look, they're playing really, really well, but you need that consistency going. So I think, like you said, Matt, I think what it comes down to is I think the 3 teams, and with the exception of the Cubs, I think this is what you got battling out for the wild card. So the Phillies need to get in there. I don't think we could catch the Braves. However, that's not a issue because we saw this play out like last year, right? The Braves ran this thing to the postseason, and they checked out the minute they got into the postseason. So as long as we get to prom, we can become prom king. It doesn't matter. So that's the way I look at it. I think that's the way. I think that's the way the cookie's going to crumble. Just as long as we can get to the dance, I think we'll be just fine. Because
Yeah,
I'm not really scared of the Giants or the Marlins. I mean, maybe I'm just being a little bit of a optimistic, maybe a little bit of a homer. But I mean, when I look at it, if this pitching is play like it has been, if Nola can get his head out of the clouds and stop flopping like a fish in the fourth, you got a presentable, you got a decent deal right in front of you.
Listen, we can't win in San Francisco to save our lives, so I don't want anything to do with the Giants in the playoffs. I really don't, unless we can play all the games here. And so I don't want nothing to do with the Giants because I don't know what's going on in San Francisco, but we can't win there. Maybe that changes in the playoffs. I don't know, but Pat, last year the Braves did run down the Mets in August, and they were 8 out at one point, and they ran them down and they took it over. I'm not saying it's going to happen this year, but I've seen it happen. And I'm not giving up on the NL East. I'm not going to give it up. Just like you should not give up on the edge of Philly sports. And this is the lineup this week. Tonight, you did some party on Broad. For those of you who had the opportunity, and also Philly Press Box Radio, but then the EOP Live, which was the flagship show, was actually broadcasting during the no-hitter, and you had the opportunity of watching Al, Freddie, and Joe Sheeran give you that blow-by-blow report as the game came final, and seeing the initial reaction of those gentlemen was priceless. So that's why you got to tune in the EOP, because you never know what you might miss if you don't. And same thing like going to Dolan's. You never know who you might encounter there at Dolan's. 24 East Sellers Ave in Ridley Park. Quizzo music, great times, memorabilia giveaways. Tell PJ and the crew down there that EOP sent you. And if you want to travel like the pros, folks, don't look any further than Philly Sports Trips. They got you covered for the Eagles this season. They got you covered next season for baseball. Phillies and Mets in London. They got you covered a little bit here in early September when the Phillies head out to San Diego. I think it's still open, or it might have just closed. But anyway, get over to phillysportstrips.com and check out all they have to offer. And then on your way over there, stop by and see Dave Cherry, especially if you have workman's compensation, motor vehicle accident, personal injury, or criminal law questions. Dave Cherry at 610-565-0300. Tell Dave that the Phightins Phinal sent you. And then once you're done with Dave and you're done with Philly Sports Trips and you want to sit down and have your beer at Dolan's, make sure that you're on the internet checking out some tickets. If you want to get some sports concerts and theater tickets at Sherry's Ticket Town, www.sherrystickets.com. Family owned and operated since 1946. Save an additional 10% when you enter the promo code EOP10. Pat Bernard. Closing comments, Pat. We're going to wrap up here. Amazing night. Liam Castellanos might be the unsung hero of this game. It's Nick Castellanos' young son. Apparently made his rounds around Citizen Bank Park tonight, celebrating his father's achievement, also celebrating with the Wilson family as they were celebrating his first home run. And then he popped up in the upper deck to the Lorenzen family and celebrated with their no-hitter with them. So hats off to young Liam Castellanos. Pat, what is your final? I would have loved to have been there tonight. Tonight was one of those nights. Damn, I wish I was at the park. But give me your final comments on watching this game, Pat, and what it meant for you gearing up for a pennant race. Did it give you the energy to carry you into the rest of the month and into the playoffs? And did it have a playoff feel for you tonight, Pat? What's Pat thinking right now?
Matty B. All I can think about right now is as it says right there on MLB.com, Philly special. And tonight was a Philly special. It was electrifying. Like, it kind of gave me that postseason vibes going on down there. So many great things that happened tonight. Like I said, Nick Castellanos grabbing his 200 career home run. That was something special. And then of course you want to go to Mr. Wilson, who just showed up, like I said, out of nowhere, and he was a major contributor to his offense. Again, this hasn't happened since Derek Hall last year. So again, big thanks to Mr. Wilson, and like you said, all the families getting together and celebrating. What a time in Philly. Of course, you can't go on without saying a no-hitter. It is a beautiful thing to say. Mike Lorenzen finally getting his due here in Philadelphia. What better place with a stack of people, a stack of great athletes, great pitchers that have come before you, and now you join that list, the list of Tommy Greens, the Roy Halladay's, the Cole Hamels. You have joined that list, Mike Lorenzen, and now you can put your name right there. And of course, you celebrate with your family and everyone down there on the field, and everyone already getting already Octobered up. So my takeaway is, let's go, let's finish this ride.
Yeah, to me, and I said this earlier in the show, it just had that vibe to it. It's a little too early. Obviously, October baseball is not quite yet here, but it definitely gave you that little appetizer tonight. And then you got alumni weekend coming up over the weekend against Minnesota, and that's huge. That's always a big shot in the arm too. So this is what you need at the right time of the season. These are the types of events or types of things that the Phillies need to have happen, because this is what runs or started with. These are the moments that runs begin with. And yes, so obviously tonight, a no-hitter, the 14th in franchise history. Congratulations to Michael Lorenzen, the newest Philly too. And he's a free agent at the end of the year. I don't know if that changes anything, but anyway, just amazing. And it definitely gets you kind of get your juices flowing. So for Pat the Gobbler, I'm Matty B. Don't forget tomorrow. Make sure you're here with us. It'll be one of, I think, me or you. I'm not really. I think it might be me, but I'm not sure if it's going to be me, because I got something going on tomorrow night. It might. So you may have to take it from me, Pat. So
hey, listen, I'll tag. Hey, listen, you tagged for me tonight, so I mean, if you needed to tag, no problem.
I'll let you know. But until then, one of us will be back. Until then, go Phils, and Harry the K, man. You know what I need. What you got?
He had high hopes. He had high apple pie in the sky.